Hey guys, Jason Digos here from Modus, and we've unveiled our brand new 2024 Tesla Cybertruck with all of our awesome high-tech gear. Come check it out. So let's just get down to business. We're right here in the front of the Cybertruck, and I've got new Modus amplifiers that feature current averaging technology. I have two 8-channel amplifiers and two mono 1500 watt amplifiers. And the thing that's really cool about current averaging technology is that it takes a separate power supply that operates and powers up a lithium ion power bank in the amplifier that then powers the audio amplifier section of the amplifier. So what that means is that we're not drawing a lot of current as the music is playing. The charge comes in, charges up the lithium ion power bank, kind of like a reservoir, and the amplifier then draws that current there, so we have minimal current draw. So in a case of this, one of the other really cool things is that we have a really wide voltage operating range, anywhere from 9 volts to 58 volts. So in the case of the Cybertruck at 48 volts, we are running almost 6,000 watts of power and drawing a very minimal amount of current, less than 10 amps at full power. So one of the things that we want to do to actually prove how well this amplifier works is we've installed these analog gauges here in front of the Cybertruck that's hooked up directly to the power supply of the truck, and then the amplifiers are fed off of that, kind of like a distribution block. So the center part here, this center gauge, shows us voltage. So we can see that it's operating at 48 volts. The gauge on the right side, or the passenger side of the car, shows current draw from the high frequency amplifiers, so the two 8-channel amplifiers, and the gauge here on the left side of the car shows the current draw for the subwoofer amplifiers. So of course, when the system is playing, most of the current is going to be drawn by the subwoofer amplifiers. So you'll see this gauge move around, but even at full volume, we're less than 10 amps of current. And that's really amazing. Also, one thing that I want to point out is all the power wire that's going to all these amplifiers is only 14 gauge wire, because at 48 volts, it's a lot less current draw. So we can show this and prove it by utilizing these gauges here. The other thing that's really cool about this panel is that all the fuses are in here. One thing about high voltage systems that you have to be really careful of is high voltage tends to arc a little bit farther, so we actually utilize a little bit of old school AGC glass fuses in here, so that if something does happen in a smaller fuse like an ATC fuse, that arc can happen across 58 volts, but in a glass fuse, because that filament is longer and farther away, you won't have that problem. But you know, in our case here, 48 volts native, the Modus current averaging amplifiers can operate anywhere from 9 to 58 volts. So whatever the application, you're gonna have a lot of output power with very minimal current draw. So in this system, we have two 8-channel amplifiers. So the two 8-channel amplifiers power all the speakers in the factory location. So that's 15, right? So I've got one extra channel. The two 8-channel amplifiers run all of those high frequency drivers. And then I've got two mono amplifiers, two 1500 watt mono amplifiers. And that runs the 412s, and get this, in a blow through in a Cybertruck, the world's first ever blow through in a Cybertruck. All right, so I'm sitting here in the back of the Cybertruck, and I'm sitting on top of a huge subwoofer enclosure that's outfitted with 4 of our Apex subwoofers from Modus. Now, they're 12-inch subs in a 7.5 cubic foot box. It's tuned to 29 hertz. It's got 58 square inches of port. And this thing is massive. So the subwoofer box actually sits down, and what we did was we removed the back window of the Cybertruck, and we built this hood that sits right above the subwoofers to direct all of that sound right into the cab. This thing is amazing. With 3,000 watts of power, the thing just rocks your brains. Thanks for taking the time to check out our Cybertruck from Modus. I just wanted to give a shout out to my son, Jason Digos here. He's the one that actually did the build in just 4 short weeks. Check him out at deltaconceptsusa.com. And for more information about Modus products, including our amazing current averaging technology, visit us at modusglobal.com.